Welcome back, brand new stories. Story number 1. Opie writes, my 26 female best friend, 23 female, might be in love with my husband, 26 male. Where do I go from here? Throwaway because my husband stalks Reddit. Also, I know he isn't cheating on me. He's at home more often than not. And I have full access to his electronics, as does he to mine. Note: some identifying details have been changed to protect my privacy, such as names. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both of our lives, as we both come from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both her parents and siblings as she is studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband, said that he was clingy and tried to insert himself into our friendship. What the F? She was civil to him because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar type 2, autism, and PTSD, and it causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all. Over the last few years, we have been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to the movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time, and my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often too. However, last year my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January. I was working and fell ill because at the time I was working at a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. My life changed and I had become more busy to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost a month and a half after discovering we were going to become parents. That's when our dynamic changed. Recently, I applied to school and I'm currently in college trying to get a law degree so I can become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college too. I've been super busy. One day, my husband gets a text and it's from my best friend. She asked if they can talk as she was upset. He took the phone call with me protesting and a few minutes later said, "Sandra," fake name, "we need to go get Carla," fake name. "Her father is picking a fight with her." I get upset as we were watching a movie together and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for the night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed. I was hesitant. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave the go-ahead. We settled in for the night. Carla's dad apologized and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did was not only inappropriate, but was disrespectful to my boundaries. Ever since, when she has an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my mother-in-law overheard a convo with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, "No, not really, but every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help, that she's going through a hard time, blah, blah, blah." It is important to note that my mother-in-law was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We are also extremely close, and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion. And my husband, who I will refer to as James, was using the same excuses his father did. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match, and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage. I asked him how would he feel if I had asked him if another man could sleep in bed with us. He kind of deflated and tried to say, "It's different, blah, blah, blah." His stepfather, Mark, fake name, spoke up and said, "It is the same. You're uncomfortable with it. So is she. Quit with the excuses." James respects Mark quite a lot, actually. Mark raised him since he was 8, and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settles, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said he would do better. I kissed him and that was that. However, I wouldn't be right here if that was the end of the issues. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day. She says it's because she is bored and has no one else to talk to. I snapped. I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation, how when she calls he answers, how it makes me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response? She's just lonely. You're letting it get to you. That night, I slept in the living room. I'm starting to suspect that she is trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time she calls. They talk, she complains about her life, etc. Almost like she is his girlfriend or something. I am starting to find this relationship troubling. It's getting to the point that it is affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with a resolution in a couple of days. I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. Edit 2. My husband and I had a sit-down talk. His mother and stepfather weren't available. He promised me that he would explain everything in detail. I called Carla and she said that we could talk Friday when she wasn't busy with school. She had something she needed to air out. I will have an update on Friday, hopefully. Edit 3. I woke up to a text from Carla this morning. She actually wants to talk to me tonight, alone, as the schedule has changed. We are going to have a heart-to-heart. Hopefully I will have some news. Edit 4. I need some time. I will post an update later on. My heart is hurting. Hubby and I are getting a divorce. Thank you for understanding, everybody. Well, here's OP's update. This update is hard. Everything about the situation sucks and I don't know if I will be okay for some time. Baby and I are currently staying with my friend Tanya. To start, James and I are getting a divorce. Carla is no longer a friend to me or our mutuals. The betrayal is too deep for her to be friends with our group. As most of you assumed, James and Carla are indeed having an affair. It started about 3 months ago and just turned physical 1 month ago. They were planning on just up and leaving after James served me divorce papers. They used the ruse that he was helping her through emotional issues to hide the fact. I was crushed. She wanted to clear the air before it got worse. That was when she dropped a huge bombshell. James was going to try and get me to terminate my rights to my child in order for Carla to adopt her. The reason? My borderline diagnosis a few years ago made me unfit to be a mother, and he was sure that the courts would agree. She then handed me 2 separate stacks of paperwork and left. I am contacting a lawyer as I'm writing this. I was seriously hurt. You guys were right. Carla was a snake, and only told me this so she wouldn't feel guilty. However, I am not letting my soon-to-be ex-husband bully me into termination of my rights. I called him afterwards and got very heated about what was going on. James just sat there in silence. I was crying afterwards. I pleaded with him to tell me what I did wrong. For a little bit of backstory, I had a near-fatal complication with my delivery of our daughter, where I bled my entire labor. I had to have 2 blood transfusions and haven't fully recovered from it. I was not cleared for any extraneous activity for 3 months, including sexual activity. James was getting unsatisfied with all my doctor's appointments and not getting the sex that he wanted. I was hurting and ended up needing another procedure to remove some placenta that didn't naturally come out. I had to have my tubes tied because if I have another child, it will kill me next time. James wanted at least 2 more kids and this put an end to his plans. I married a monster. We were together since we were 15, and this is how he repays me. I thought I knew him. He was acting so caring and nice to me. I am absolutely heartbroken. I'm not even sure if I'm going to update this anymore, but if I do, it'll be after the divorce settles. Thanks for all your concern. I'm going to step back and take some time to adjust. There is no chance for a healthy co-parenting situation. I'm fighting for primary custody with supervised visits. Carla will not have any access to baby, as I will ask the judge to make a clause preventing her from interacting with my daughter. Thanks for all the advice. Edit. I forgot to add that I contacted his mother and Mark this morning. They are furious that James is doing this to me. They are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer because I'm a stay-at-home mom and college student. They have kicked James out and he is now staying at our old house with Carla. He did give me the courtesy to get my stuff and didn't put up a fuss about me taking what I wanted. He told me that he will keep in contact for the divorce proceedings. Okay, let's get a comment with a reply from Opie. Comment. What stands out is he's threatening to use her bipolar status against her, despite being a parent with bipolar type 2, autism, and PTSD. Laugh my ass off, dude is evil and inept. Opie replies, I didn't say he was smart, did I? But with me having no financial way to support my child or a stable home, he has slightly better odds. I'm still in contact with his mom and stepfather. I'm hoping they will give me a place at their house for the time being. I feel like I'm being intrusive at Tanya's home. And here's some additional information from Opie. We have only been married for a year. This house was his before marriage. Even still, inheritance laws where I'm from are a thing. So even if he got it while married, it's still his. Opie, you really have been through it, haven't you? You almost died giving birth to his child, but because you couldn't participate in sexual activity for 3 months, that to him was reason to cheat. And also he's upset because he wants 2 more kids. And he just treats it like it's okay for him to cheat with Carla. And there Carla is ready to take your child from you. Since he's with Carla now, he can go ahead and have his 2 more kids with her. And then he won't be able to have sex with her for, my goodness, maybe a whole 6 weeks. This isn't a man that will call him a man. If he would let you down through this, you are better off without him. Good luck, Opie, really. Good luck. Story number 2. Opie writes, I, 30 female, was in a car crash. I had to be cut out of the car. I wasn't seriously injured though, thankfully. But the other person unfortunately wasn't doing too well, from what I saw before I was taken away to the hospital. I was told to stay in hospital overnight to see if I suffered from a concussion. I rang my husband and told him what happened. My mother-in-law got the incidents mixed up. When he dropped off our daughters, 6 and 11, to my mother-in-law while he rushed to see me. Next morning, my husband rang our daughters to come get while I was waiting to be discharged. Upon seeing me, my 6-year-old bursted into tears and said, I don't want you to die. I comforted her and said, I'm not dying, and I was very lucky. She then said, Granny said she hoped I'd die so that they and my husband can come live with her. Me and my husband were shocked, and my 12-year-old confirmed she heard her say that. My husband said he was going to ring mother-in-law. When he came back in the room, he looked furious, but didn't say anything until after we got home. And he said mother-in-law denied it, but after he kept pushing, she ended up admitting it. But she said she didn't mean it. I thought me and her were close, but I guess not. I am incredibly hurt she would want that, and said I wanted me and the girls go no contact with mother-in-law. I told him he can have a relationship with her, but I don't want me and the girls to have one with her. My husband said he supports me. He then rang mother-in-law and told her what I said. She didn't take it too well. She came to our house crying and saying it was a misunderstanding and she didn't mean it and that we were taking it the wrong way. My husband asked, what did you mean then? She just got hysterical and started crying and saying she always wanted daughters, but my husband was the only child due to her not being able to have any more after him, and that the girls are more like her daughters than granddaughters. And she wasn't thinking properly when she said that to our 6-year-old. She got so worked up that my husband had to take her home. When he got back, he said he didn't know she felt like that and asked did I still want to cut her off. I said yes. He said okay and didn't argue. But it's been a week now, and he is still very quiet and hasn't said much about what happened. And now I'm starting to feel guilty and wondering if I did take it the wrong way and being the a-hole. And here's Opie's update. Well, you guys were right. I decided to talk to my husband and ask if he's upset that I decided that me and the girls go no contact with mother-in-law. He said he wasn't. He said he always knew mother-in-law wanted a daughter instead of him, and it brought back all the bad memories of rejection and hurt he felt growing up as a kid by her. I suggested therapy and he's willing to go. We are also going to get therapy for our 6-year-old, as she now gets anxious if I'm not within her sight. My husband agreed that going no contact with mother-in-law is the best thing for our family. Our daughter's birthday is coming up, and we have yet to tell mother-in-law she is no longer invited. Not looking forward to that, but that's the update. Thanks everyone for the lovely comments and support. I appreciate it. OPY's decision to go no contact. I just cannot fathom what your mother-in-law was thinking saying something like that to a 6-year-old. And just the fact that she was thinking that as well, of course it's hurtful, of course it's disturbing. But now it's also brought out past memories for your husband and he can finally deal with that as well. Sounds like your mother-in-law has her own trauma that she's never dealt with and hopefully she will now get some help. Well, that's it for this edition of Wow Drama Stories. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, leave me a comment, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care of yourself. Bye.